Hi, warriors. It's 5 minutes to 4. I'm already here, so I thought I'd show my face. Yeah, let's give everyone else a few minutes to join as well. In the meantime, be sure to grab yourself a drink, grab yourself a snack. I'm just gonna have this miserable little leftover pancake from Pancake Day. Got my glass of kombucha right here, and yeah, I'm ready for a chat. I'll probably be here for about half an hour or so, maybe a bit longer, depending on the amount of questions that come in. But yeah, I'm really excited to be doing this. So yeah, take a moment, run to the bathroom, get a drink, get a snack, and get back here within the next few minutes. Seems like there's already questions coming in. That's quite exciting. Who else joined Pancake Day? I hope you all had some pancakes yesterday. One of the questions that came in ages ago. So, have you had experience with food rules, i.e. not being able to eat fruits and veg of the same color on the same day? I guess I'll just start tackling this question already. I have definitely experienced food rules, not this specific one, but yeah, what food rules did I have? Probably with the amount I chewed or the amount of time it had to take, also the way my plate had to be laid out, what cutlery I used, just really silly things really. But yeah, it's crazy the kind of things that the eating disorder will make you do. Absolutely mad. Sonia again, what digestion issues have you had in recovery? I have had a lot of digestion issues, and I've made several videos dedicated to that because it was a big problem for me and it really stood in the way of my recovery. It made me really uncomfortable and made me want to restrict again because I knew that when I restricted, these issues weren't as bad. Ironically, I had to go through this discomfort for my body to re-regulate, my metabolism to speed up again, my body to get used to food again in order for the digestive issues to really pass. So yeah, that's my advice to you as well. Whatever the issue is, keep eating. Do not avoid any food groups. Keep going, and if it is really bad, seek expert opinions, but do not start to eliminate food groups or just do this on your own and listen to the eating disorder. Oh, so many questions, you guys. I thought this being my first Q&A, there might be 1 or 2 people showing up. I'm so happy to see all of this interest. And yeah, if it turns out all right, I'll definitely be doing this again. I hope the video quality and everything is good enough as well, but we shall see. Final question by Sonia. Do your family and friends know about your eating disorder? Yes. Initially, I was very secretive about my eating disorder. I didn't really tell anyone, even at school, even when I had to miss school. But now I obviously have this channel and the world knows about my eating disorder. So yeah, and it's something that I also quite openly talk about with my friends and family. If anyone has any questions, yeah, I discuss it. I don't think there's any reason to feel ashamed or to see this as a taboo. Mental health is just something that needs to be discussed. Right. Faith. Am I going to get fat if I follow my extreme hunger? I don't think so. I think extreme hunger is just a sign that you've not been feeding yourself sufficiently. So listening to the extreme hunger is actually really good. It's, yeah, listening to your hunger cues and making up for a deficit that you might have. And granted, you may initially gain some weight because you may be underweight or you may have been restricting, but your body needs this. You will, yeah, gain some weight until your metabolism adapts. And at this point, the same quantities that you used to eat before will no longer make you gain weight. And yeah, your metabolism will speed up as you gain weight, as you start eating more, and as you approach your target set point weight. So it's very, very unlikely that listening to your extreme hunger is going to make you, as you put it, fat. Do I have any tips for compulsive obsessive purging? It's an addiction. Personally, that wasn't a problem for me. I never purged myself, but I obsessively exercised and I was really addicted to moving my body as a way of compensating for eating. So I think the approach would probably be fairly similar. I'd say, yeah, like with facing your fear foods, just shout back at the eating disorder when it's shouting at you and don't do what it's telling you you should be doing. So if you feel the need or the urge to purge, then don't, and sit with the discomfort. If you find it really difficult to do this on your own, definitely inform your treatment team, your parents, anyone that can help hold you accountable. And over time, you'll find that the urge gets less and less. Whereas if you actually engage with the behavior, that urge will remain as well. So sit with the anxiety, get through it. You can do it. Yeah, next question is about how to deal with compulsive exercise. So a similar approach. If you feel the urge to exercise, stop cold turkey. If it is the eating disorder telling you to exercise, stop cold turkey. And for a while, just don't do it. Sit with the discomfort and, yeah, find out for yourself that really nothing bad's going to happen. You won't suddenly lose all your muscle mass or gain lots of weight. The world won't explode. It's really not that bad. And in fact, in recovery, I've said this many times before, it's actually much healthier not to exercise for your body, because by exercising when you're underweight or restricting, you might be taking energy away from other very important functions in your body. And you might be hurting your muscles. So how much is healthy exercise and movement? As I said, in recovery, probably none. After recovery, whatever you feel comfortable with, and yeah, whatever feels good without being driven by eating disorder urges. Next question. I'm loving this. I hope you're all loving this as well. The next question. Did you continue to receive professional help when fully recovered? My friends recommend it, but I feel like it would be unnecessary since I'm at a healthy weight and only occasionally have eating disorder thoughts. That is a tricky one. Personally, I didn't have any more help after I left hospital in Belgium in 2015, because the treatment there wasn't really helping me anymore in any way. And anyway, I was moving out of Belgium and there wasn't really anything else available that would have helped me. So I stopped. However, if you have good treatment options in your area, if you feel like it could be useful, then yeah, definitely continue, because just because your weight restored does not mean that all of the eating disorder thoughts have left, or that you can't fall back into old patterns, because after all, the eating disorder is a coping mechanism that has been there for you for a long time. So really, it's not abnormal to return to that and even to have a full-blown relapse. So to be on the safe side, yeah, it might be a good idea to have this treatment team still in place, or at least have someone that you can contact if you feel like you're slipping. Having said that, yeah, I personally didn't. I moved away for university and I've been fine, but I'd been in treatment for my eating disorder for such a long time at this point that I was ready to recover and ready to move on with my life. And I did. Julia is asking, are you really recovered? Do you still get thoughts, or is recovery about not acting on them? During my recovery, I heard conflicting stories. I heard people say that, yeah, I still get the occasional thought, but I just don't act on it. Or I have been purge free for this amount of time. And then other people saying that they didn't have any thoughts anymore whatsoever. So I was very confused and I didn't know what to expect. Now that I'm on the other side of the tunnel, I want to say that yes, full recovery is possible. I had an eating disorder for literally half my lifetime. It was a coping mechanism I knew for a really long time, and it had a really important function in my life before. But even so, I managed to leave it behind completely. And if you still have the occasional eating disorder thought or urge, even if you don't act on it, you are not quite recovered yet. You might need to gain some more weight, or you might need to give it some more time, and to really let go of the eating disorder. So if you still have these thoughts, you're not quite recovered yet, but you can get there. And once you get there, you will be free, and it's so liberating. So I hope that answers your questions and gives you something to look forward to. This is nut butter and like a chocolate sauce, by the way, in case anyone's wondering what my healthy snack right here is. Let me know what you're all snacking on as well. And I love all your really sweet comments. Lovely to see you all too. And I'm really glad my channel's helping you all. Thank you. Oh, the next question. I like this. How are you doing today? From John from Australia. Ooh. Yeah, not too bad. I've got a few days off work at the moment, so focusing on catching up on a bit of sleep and yeah, just having some time off, really. Working on the things that I want to work on at my own schedule. Tawny Cypress 79. Do you have any advice on how to start eating more? I'm trying to follow a meal plan from my dietitian, but I always feel too full and sick from the larger amount of food in a short time span. Yeah, it's already really good that you're on a meal plan, I think, because that definitely ensures that you get your minimums in, which for me was really useful, because if I hadn't had that in my recovery, I would have definitely under-eaten a lot of the time without even knowing it, because my eating disorder would always convince me that I'd eaten more than I actually had. So the meal plan is definitely good, and then adding on to this meal plan at regular intervals. I get that you always feel full and sick, but that's because your stomach has shrunk during your eating disorder. It has physically shrunk, and it needs a bit of time to expand again and get used to bigger portions. So the only way to do that is to actually eat these bigger portions and to eat at more regular intervals. That way, your stomach grows, you'll feel less uncomfortable, and your hunger cues will also re-regulate. In order to increase your energy intake, you can also eat sort of smaller but higher density foods. So, fatty foods, nut butters, what else? Avocado, cheeses, maybe more processed foods for the time being, just because, yeah, I think it's just an easier way to add more energy into your day without necessarily feeling uncomfortable. I hope that answers the question. Hi, Barbara. Nice to have you. Oh, so many people join in. Chloe, how to fully honor extreme hunger without restrictions, and how to eat for mental hunger. Basically, whenever you think about food, eat. It's a sign that you are mentally, physically hungry, and even though your hunger cues might be a little bit messed up, it means you should eat. It's really difficult, but with maybe some post-meal distractions, things like that, you will get through it. Eleonora, have you ever questioned your sexuality? I recently saw your video about sex, and how can you differentiate asexuality from a fear related to past eating disorder? I'll try to make sense of that question. Have I ever questioned my sexuality? I have always been attracted to guys, so in that way, no, I haven't questioned my sexuality. But for the longest time, I didn't really have any kind of sex drive, so I definitely did wonder whether maybe I was asexual or just a bit different from the norm. But then again, I had my eating disorder, as I said in that video as well, throughout all of my teenage puberty years, so that was not surprising. How can you differentiate asexuality from a fear related to past eating disorder? I think the only way to really do that is to gain the weight, to get back to the healthy you, where your hormones are rebalanced, and to see how you feel then. And yeah, maybe working through certain traumas in therapy, being open in your intimate relationships. I think that also really helps a lot, because personally, I wouldn't be able to be intimate with anyone if that open communication wasn't there. That would definitely be a big block for me. Fatima, did you have the habit of standing right after you eat? And if yes, how did you stop it? Again, that's a sort of disordered behavior that personally I didn't have, but I would always want to sit upright in bed, for example, or just sit upright and not lie down. I think that was sort of driven by disordered thoughts that maybe it wouldn't digest as well or something odd like that. And to overcome that, don't act on it. Sit down after your meal or lie down after your meal and say, screw you, eating disorder. I'm not going to listen to you. And over time, you'll find that the world won't explode. It's all fine. So, yeah, that's what I do. Eric, not a question. I just wanted to say that you're doing great. From Sweden. Ooh, thank you, Eric. Thanks for joining. And Barbara's joined with a second coffee and a really delicious cake. And she's in the Czech Republic. Ooh, sounds really nice. Nina is asking, well, she said she read the book from Tabita and was interested if I'd heard about the book, what my opinion is on it. I've definitely heard of her. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing her name correctly. Sorry, guys. But yeah, I don't actually watch that much YouTube myself, to be honest, and I haven't read her book. I've heard from several other guys amongst you that she's put out some good content, so I assume that's probably a good book. But yeah, I can't say. I'm really not sure. Next question. I want to recover, but my mentality is not letting me. What can I do? Challenge the mentality. If you're scared of pancakes, make yourself pancakes. If you're scared of eating larger meals, eat a larger meal. And don't be scared to involve other people, like your friends, your family. I'm sure they'd be more than happy to help you and to see you happy. So ask someone to maybe portion out your meal or make sure that you eat it or sit with you after you eat it. Yeah, over time, if you just keep challenging it, the mentality itself will change and you'll become much freer in the way you approach food. So, yeah, that's what I do. The next question. Should I start on small quantities and slowly build up to normal intakes? It depends. So if you come from severe restriction, then definitely sort of slowly work your way up. You might have heard of refeeding syndrome, and yeah, it's basically something you want to avoid. Especially if you come from very low intakes, if you've been purging, I would also recommend seeing a professional to help you when you start eating bigger quantities and honestly, slowly build it up. However, if you feel that you're really hungry all the time, you don't necessarily have a history of purging or restricting excessively, then maybe I'd say, yeah, don't be scared to increase more quickly, because in the end, the more quickly you get to eating normal, healthy quantities, the more quickly you get to a healthy weight, the quicker you kick out the eating disorder as well. So, yeah, if you can increase more quickly, if you feel comfortable doing it, if you're able to without freaking out and then restricting again, definitely do it. Question just came in. I hope it's not triggering to anyone, but I gained to a healthy weight on less than the recommended 2,500 calories, and I'm worried I'll need to gain even more to fully repair. Initially in my recovery, I gained weight on anything. Honestly, anything. I could eat tiny quantities and gain weight because my metabolism, my body was that damaged, and it just hang on to all the water weight. It tried to get nutrients wherever it could. So I gained weight, and that's fairly normal. And it didn't take me too long to gain weight to the point that I'd reached the weight where I'd started out at, which was for me still underweight. So I had to keep going. But yeah, if you have gained weight on lower than 2,500 calories, again, it might be because your metabolism is damaged, and yeah, it may take more refeeding for that metabolism to be fixed. So you are right. You might need to keep going and you might gain more weight. However, if you do keep going, you will be able to leave the eating disorder behind. And in the end, that is so much more important. Also, your metabolism will be fixed. So you won't be stuck having to eat these smaller quantities just because you don't want your weight to fluctuate. And if you know anything about set point theory, your weight might shoot up during this phase, but if your set point is lower, it would also gradually come back down afterwards just by listening to your hunger cues with no conscious effort required, no need to restrict in any way. And yeah, personally, I think that's worth doing. Valley of Light is asking, can I be fully recovered without having my period? This is a tricky one. I think by definition, no. I think you need to have your period back and for your hormones to be balanced, which doesn't necessarily mean that if you have your period back, you are recovered, because you also need to be mentally well. But personally, I would say if you don't have any more eating disorder thoughts that you act on, if you are at a healthy weight, if you're not scared of gaining weight, if you no longer have disordered eating or movement behaviors, if you're not compensating for your food, then yeah, I think you can call yourself recovered or in remission. But that doesn't mean that it isn't still important to focus on rebalancing your hormones. So you might need to gain some more weight. You might need to take some more rest or reduce your stress levels, because even if you consider yourself recovered, these are still important goals to have because it'll keep your body healthy and your bones healthy. What do you think about exercising at a healthy weight but still missing my period? I chose not to really exercise initially, but ironically, I started exercising just before I got my period back. So it's a tricky one. I think best generally tends to be to take enough rest, because if your body is stressed out, if your cortisol levels are high, it'll be really difficult for your body to allocate any resources to reproduction and your period, because it considers it unsafe to do so. However, some light exercise can be beneficial because it can be stress reducing. So as long as you approach it in a healthy way, as long as you're at a healthy weight, use your common sense, but I think some walks or cycle rides, light yoga, things like that should be okay at that point. Seawines is asking, over the past years, I've gained weight from my lowest weight, but I still don't feel any different mentally now that I'm bordering on overweight in a vicious binge restrict cycle, and I don't know what to do. I think the problem lies with that binge restrict cycle, because that cycle prevents you from letting go of the eating disorder, and it prevents your metabolism from really fixing itself, because when you're giving it what it needs, next day you're not giving it what it needs anymore. So it's not really going to trust that it's going to have enough food all the time. So even if you are bordering on overweight, it's really important to listen to your body, listen to your hunger cues without restriction. And if this means initially gaining more weight, going into that overweight range, then that is, I think, what you might have to do. for full recovery, that is. If you don't want to, have to listen to the eating disorder every single day. So try to break free from that binge restrict cycle. Try to eat sufficiently in the morning as well, because that may prevent you from overeating later in the day. And keep going, because you can do it. It's difficult, but you can get there. Any advice for introverts and shyer types that really want to start a blog but are scared of making mistakes? And did you need or have any care experience before your new job? Love everything you do. Oh, thank you. Any tips? If you want to start a blog, do it. There's no right time. Nothing will ever be perfect. So sometimes it's just a matter of pressing post and putting it out there and then seeing where it goes and then continuing from there and learning as you go. Definitely my first videos, my first blog posts, I don't think they were great, but you live and you learn. So go for it. And I think it's really cool that you want to do that. Did I need or have any care experience before my new job? Yes, I did. I've been a peer support facilitator for students with self-harm and eating disorders. I have had a lot of volunteer experience at Age UK. I've worked with children in a range of voluntary and paid positions, so I had that experience, and then obviously my psychology degree. But this is my first post-uni proper job, so to speak. Chloe is asking, I'm recovering from anorexia, and I'm worried that eating to full satiation with mental and extreme hunger will lead to binge eating. Is this common? I think if you're really scared of binge eating and you occasionally restrict again, it's more common because your body will fight back. However, if you genuinely listen to your extreme hunger, you might be eating large quantities, but it'll be what your body needs. It won't be binge eating. So if you're genuinely listening to your body, no, I don't think it's very common. Your body will make up for the deficit that it has, but that's it. So hope that answers the question. Hi Hannah, what is your advice if a friend is suffering from anorexia and I'm also using food from time to time as a coping mechanism? In terms of helping your friend, just let them know that you're there for them, and if they have anything they want to talk about, that you're there. Don't force them into anything that they're not ready for, but be a friend to them. In terms of your own behaviors, maybe even if you're not diagnosed as having an eating disorder, counseling or therapy might still help, and facing any fears or behaviors that you have could also really help. And maybe you could talk about this with your friend as well. And if hanging out with this friend is particularly stressful, as I said, open communication. Let them know that maybe at the moment you can't really have that contact with them because for your own mental health, it's not helping you. And it's really important to be honest about that. That doesn't mean you can't be friends ever again, but you might just, need that break for your own sanity. So the next question is, schools are going to reopen in some time, and we have 4 meals a day, and I'm scared of eating that much. I'm very stressed out. So 4 meals, we wake up, we drink milk, coffee, tea, or something like that. Then we have a lunch break, which is just breakfast. And then we have lunch when we get home, and then we have dinner. Yeah, I used to find it quite scary to have those breaks, and even though no one was necessarily checking up on me, I'd be sitting with friends, and I didn't want them to notice that I had problems with food. But in a way, that actually helped me because I didn't want to admit that I was struggling. So I would eat in spite of the fear, just to prove that everything was okay with me. And in the end, yeah, just facing my fears in spite of them causing me anxiety, that helped me a lot in actually overcoming the fears. So go to school and face your fears. If you need any help, there's loads of support at schools normally, like tell a nurse or counselor and see if they can provide any more support as well. Next one by Chloe. I'm recovering and in family therapy with my parents. However, because I'm listening to extreme hunger and eating a lot, my dad doesn't see a problem with me coming on multiple dog walks a day and encourages me to do so. However, subconsciously rather, I'm using this as a way to earn food. How do I tell him? And he thinks exercise is healthy for me. Yeah, it's really silly. As soon as people start eating again, or as soon as someone is at a healthy weight, even healthcare professionals will say, "Oh, you're fine. You don't have a problem anymore. Out of my hands. Go out in the world." Even if at that point you might be struggling more, say, than you did when you were at your lowest weight. So it's important to let him know that just because you're eating well, or maybe you're at a healthier weight, you are still struggling, and you're simply not using food as a coping mechanism anymore, but you're still struggling. So tell him that, first of all, and let him know that at the moment you have a problem with exercise and approaching it in an unhealthy way, so that he knows. And yeah, at the moment, it seems that exercise might not be a good thing for you to engage in because you're not doing it from the right reasons. So open communication, and always, as you are now, being honest with yourself as well, because yeah, that's when you know when you're doing things for the right reasons or when you aren't. Right. Don't see any more questions coming in. I'll give it a moment, see if anything else pops up. Said I'd be here for about half an hour. I have been, so let's see if anything else shows up. Oh, I love that. Thanks, Chloe. I'm glad you had a reminder set, and I'm glad you enjoyed the Q&A. Yeah, and to everyone that's still here, leave any more questions, and once the live chat finishes, leave them in the comments section below, because I'll definitely get to them at some point or other. As I've said, this is the first one I'm doing, so any suggestions, feedback is always welcome as well, either here or on Instagram or email me, whatever. Any feedback is welcome. Yeah. Seems like Oh, I was going to say, seems like there's no more questions coming in. Something just came in. Yeah, I used to always be underweight naturally, even while eating a lot of food. And I used to be really into sports, so I needed more calories to maintain. And now I feel like when I'll be at a normal weight, I'll gain. I get your struggles. I used to be quite underweight myself naturally, and I could eat quite a lot of food, but I was very active. So when I wasn't allowed to be active anymore, I did gain some weight, but my body really needed this weight, and it was really important to remind myself why I was doing this, why I was recovering. That helped me stop the exercising and become okay with gaining weight. So I hope you can do something similar yourself. And yeah, from that, gain an acceptance of the weight gain, because there's so many other things that you'll gain as well. You'll gain food freedom, you'll gain the ability to go out with friends and have a spontaneous meal or eat ice cream, eat the things you enjoy. Yeah. Julia, how do you deal with comparison with people, especially on social media? I've deleted all of mine because I couldn't deal with it. It's a tricky one. I have several videos that go in depth about it, but understand that other people are on different journeys. So if they're eating different foods from you, they might not need as much food, or they might need more food, or more or less exercise. And also acknowledge that everyone looks, feels, experiences things differently. I think that knowledge has really helped me just focus on myself and put my own recovery first and put myself first, because I never did, and sometimes it's just very much necessary. On social media can make that really difficult because obviously it's all too easy to compare yourself to others. So your approach of deleting social media can be really good, or really only following the accounts that give you positive vibes and yeah, that make you feel good. Rachel is asking about my thoughts on All in recovery, and do I consider my recommendations the same or different? I definitely agree with All in. Listen to your extreme hunger, have a rest. Learn to listen to your body again, because you've ignored its cues for so long. And yeah, for your relationship with food and exercise and your own body, your own journey to normalize again, you'll have to tune into it. So I'm definitely a fan of All In. Vicky, how to deal with an eating disorder at work. I haven't had to deal with that myself, but had to deal with an eating disorder whilst at school. So I'll compare it to that. But if it's something you're really struggling with, then talk to a counselor or something like that, because at school and at work, there's often, yeah, support available. You might just not know about it. So definitely seek that out. And yeah, unless you have a crazy ass job like mine right now where you don't have any set breaks, you normally have your set lunchtime, your set breaks, whatever. So maybe follow a meal plan, make sure that you have enough snacks and things with you to nourish yourself and hold yourself accountable. Those are my biggest tips. Right, we've already been going on for about 45 minutes, so I'll just do 2, maybe 3 more questions, and that will be it. Anything else I'll try to discuss in a future Q&A, so not to worry. It's also getting really dark in here. How did recovery impact the relationship with my family? Oof, I think that's a good one. Yeah, for the longest time, my family had been my caregivers. They had to feed me, had to comfort me, had to baby me, and in the end, that started to get in my way of recovery a little bit as well, because I wouldn't take responsibility. Then when I left university, I had to take responsibility, and I got away from that, and that actually helped me in my recovery. When I next saw them, when I went home for Christmas, they were surprised at how much responsibility I was taking for my own health and my own recovery journey, and they learned to slowly let go of that. Instead, they could now have fun with me. They could do the things that they couldn't do before in their caregiver roles. So, yeah, the relationship really, really improved. And I also got a bit of a sense of humor now, which I never had during my eating disorder because I was just so focused on myself and on food. So the relationship definitely improved a lot. Next question. I think this will be the final one. How can I tell my friends that I'm struggling with food again? I need to go to hospital. As you're saying again, I assume they already know that you've struggled in the past. So, yeah, be open with them. They probably already know because you might be acting differently around food or acting differently with them. So be honest and say that currently you're struggling with this and that. And if they're your friends, they'll accept that. Say that it's making it difficult to, for example, meet up or wherever else it might be influencing, so that they have that understanding, and then let them know that you are working on it, that you want to recover, and that you have opted for this hospitalization in order to do so. And this is not admitting defeat. Being admitted to hospital is a sign that you're working on yourself and actively taking your recovery into your own hands. So it's something that you and your friends and your family can be super proud of. So yeah, keep going. There's more questions coming in, guys. Oh, I'm loving this. And yeah, Judy, this video will be up on the channel, so you can rewatch it whenever you want. Right, quick fire, 2 last questions, and then I'm off. Maddie is asking, I'm trying to gain weight but struggle with hunger cues as I still exercise. I feel full a lot when I should be eating and then losing my help. I'm not sure what you mean by this question, Maddie. Just give me a second. Yeah, so yeah, if you're feeling full constantly, as I said before, try to eat more dense foods, eat regularly, and eat in spite of the fullness in order to regulate your hunger cues. And yeah, definitely stop exercising because it'll mess things up in your recovery. Tab, I'm slightly overweight and I want to recover from my eating disorder, but I feel like if I'm still overweight, I can't recover yet. This is similar to a question I answered earlier on. Yeah, it's really important to listen to your hunger cues anyway. And if that means you gain a bit more weight initially, that's simply the way it is. In the end, more important thing is to let go of the eating disorder. And if your set point weight is lower, your weight might spike up and then will naturally go back down without you having to put in any effort whatsoever. So we've done it. 50 minutes of live Q&A. Thank you guys all so much for joining. I really enjoyed this. I hope you did too. In the comments, definitely let me know as well where you've come from, whether you're from Australia, Sweden, Holland, wherever, because I'd love to know any more questions as well. Leave them below or contact me on Instagram or via my email. They will be incorporated into a future video. Love you loads and see you shortly for another video. P.S. Like and subscribe. Do it now. Bye.